You're standing in line. Your phone is dead. 30 seconds pass and it already feels unbearable. You reach for your pocket anyway. There's nothing there to reach for. But the itch is real. That itch has a name, and the real answer to where it comes from is far stranger than you have a short attention span. Because boredom isn't a flaw in your brain, it's a signal, an old one. Older than language, older than agriculture, older than fire itself. Think about the last time you felt truly, deeply bored. Not mildly distracted. Bored, restless, itching to move. What did you do? You probably didn't sit still and enjoy it. You reached for a screen, a snack, a conversation, anything. That reaction is not weakness, it's instinct. And it was built for a world that no longer exists. Go back 200,000 years. Your ancestors are not checking notifications. They're sitting at the edge of a camp scanning the tree line. Nothing is happening. No predator, no prey, no threat. And yet their brain does not let them relax into that stillness. It nags, it fidgets. It says, move, check, look again. Researchers call this the information-seeking drive. Your brain is wired to treat unexplored space as a kind of debt, a gap that must be filled. Dr. John Eastwood, a psychologist at York University who has spent years studying boredom, describes it as the unpleasant feeling of wanting to engage with the world, but being unable to find a satisfying way to do it. Not laziness, a mismatch, a craving with nowhere to go. For early humans, that craving had a job. An environment can turn deadly in seconds. A rustle in the grass, a shift in the wind, a silence where there used to be birdsong. Boredom in that world was never really boredom. It was a low hum of vigilance disguised as restlessness. It kept eyes moving. It kept ears open. It kept bodies from settling into the kind of stillness that gets you killed. Stillness is expensive when you're prey, as often as you are predator, so your ancestors' brains punished it with a nagging, itchy discomfort that said, don't just sit there. Now here's where it gets strange. That mechanism never got the memo that the world changed. Your body still runs software built for the savannah, but you're not scanning for lions anymore. You're scanning your phone. Same circuit, different target. Dr. Sandy Mann, a psychologist who has researched boredom extensively, found that people who reported higher boredom in daily life also showed higher creativity on tasks handed to them afterward. Their brains, starved of external stimulation, had started generating their own. That's the twist most people miss. Boredom isn't just an alarm. It's also a factory. Left alone, with nothing to check and nothing to scroll, your brain doesn't shut off. It starts building. Daydreams, half-formed ideas, strange associations between things that have no business being connected. This is the default mode network, a set of brain regions that activates precisely when you stop focusing on a task. Neuroscientist Marcus Rachel, who helped identify this network, found that the brain is remarkably active during so-called rest. It doesn't go quiet. It goes inward. So the ancient alarm and the ancient factory were the same system. Boredom pushed your ancestors to keep watching the horizon. And in the gaps between watching, it let their minds wander toward solutions. Where to find water next season? How to fix a cracked spear? Whether that patch of berries would still be there in a month. Undirected thought, it turns out, was never wasted time. It was a rehearsal space for problems that hadn't happened yet, which raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when you never let that space open up? Modern life has done something no environment in human history has ever done. It has made boredom almost impossible to feel for more than a few seconds. Every gap gets filled. Every silence gets a notification. Every idle moment gets a feed. And your brain, the same one that once treated unstructured time as fuel for problem solving, is now starving in a different way. Not from lack of stimulation, from lack of the gaps between stimulation. Dr. Eastwood's research suggests that chronic unresolved boredom, the kind where you constantly reach for distraction, but nothing satisfies you, is linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression. Not because boredom itself is dangerous, because the compulsive avoidance of it might be. Every time you kill a 30-second gap with your phone, you're not resting. You're doing the ancient equivalent of grabbing a spear and pacing the camp perimeter over and over without ever letting the watch end. The alarm never gets to finish its job. The factory never gets to start building. Here's the part that should feel unsettling. Your ancestors were bored constantly. Hours of walking, hours of watching, hours of waiting for something, anything, to happen. And in those hours, they invented tools, told the first stories, mapped the stars, noticed which plants healed and which ones killed. You, by contrast, are almost never bored. Not really, not for long. And you have never had less time to think. So the next time that itch shows up, the one that makes you reach for a phone that isn't even in your pocket, pause before you fill it. That itch is not a malfunction. It's a message, 40,000 generations old, still trying to do its job, still trying to push you toward the horizon, or toward the next idea waiting just behind your own restlessness. Your phone was dead for 30 seconds. And for the first time all day, your mind was finally free to build something.